All right, so we already went over the lesson. I'm just going to go over the rest of the problems that we didn't finish in case you want more examples. I would suggest that the ones we haven't done yet, that you would give those a try, and then you could see how you did. Okay? Again, we already covered all the information that you need. It was like 22 minutes. Hopefully that's an okay amount. But again, I'm going to finish the rest of these so you can have more examples. All right, so we started by figuring out we could take that equation, we can just plug random things in, and we can find our points. Okay, but that kind of takes a while. And then we figured out that we can use the axis, we can find the axis of symmetry, and then find our vertex given this equation or formula. Okay, and that helps our problem a lot because we're not really guessing. Okay, and then after that we learned that there's a pattern. Okay, so I think I'll probably be just using the pattern for all of these just because why spend extra work. Okay, so here again we need to find our axis of symmetry or the x value of our vertex by doing negative b over 2a. So here b is negative 6 and a is 1. Okay, and for all of these examples for graphing, everything will either be a positive 1 or a negative 1. When you're in Sec 2, we'll we'll add some values that are bigger or less than 1 or negative 1. So like negative 2 or 5 or something like that. But we're just going to start with the basics, okay? So we plug stuff in. We have our negative 6. And this is probably one of the most common mistakes is that the double negative, okay? Somebody thinks it's already negative, so they just do negative 6, but it's going to end up giving us a positive 6, right? And then 2 times 1. So 2 gives us 3. So we know our axis of symmetry is on this line, okay? And we want to find our y value. So we have 3 is our x, and we want to find our y, so we'll do 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 8. That gives you 9 minus 18 plus 8. Looks like that gives you negative 1. So 3 negative 1. 3 negative 1. Okay? And then from there we can just use the growth pattern. 1a, 3a, 5a. And in this situation, a is equal to 1. So we'd get 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 1. And 5 times 1 is 1. Sorry, what the heck am I saying? Sorry. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5. Okay? So anyways, we'll go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5. And I'm just going to put it there just for the heck of it. It's out of the graph, but again, if we were needing to graph this and I was going to grade it, you only need 5 points. So, something like that. Okay? All right, here's another example. So negative b over 2a. I would just write that down every time. It will help you memorize it much faster. So negative b, well, b is negative 8 over 2 times a. Well, a is negative 1. So here a is negative 1. Okay, and that will end up giving us 8 over negative 2, which is negative 4. Okay, so we have negative 4 is our x of our vertex, and then we'll plug that in. We'll do negative times a negative 4 squared minus 8 times negative 4 minus 15. Okay, and that ends up giving you negative 16 plus 32 minus 15. That ends up giving you 1. So negative 4 was our axis of symmetry, something like this. And then the vertex will be negative 4, 1, which will be right here. Okay, let me fix that. Okay, and then we just need use our growth pattern. So 1a, 3a, 5a. Okay, so 1 times a, well, a is negative 1, so that gives you negative 1. 3 times a negative 1 gives you negative 3. And 5 times a negative 1 gives you negative 5. So we'll go over 1, down 1, okay, because it's a negative. Then we'll go over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. I don't think I did an example of that going down. So, good to know then. Okay, but I did mention here that here it goes down when a is negative. So hopefully that's good enough. Okay, here's just some other examples. Okay, negative, we want to find x is negative b over 2a. That gives you negative 8 over 2 times negative 1. That gives us a positive 4. So our axis of symmetry is right here. Okay, and then we'll plug 4 into our equation. So we'll do negative 4 squared plus 8 times 4 minus 20. That's negative 16 plus 8, or 32, minus 20. Looks like that ends up giving you negative 4. So right here. Okay, and then here we have our growth pattern is 1a, 3a, 5a, which is a is negative 1, so we'll go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3. Okay, this probably isn't the best example because it goes out of the graph. That's all right. Okay, here's another example. Again, kind of a hint here. This is the y-intercept, so we already have a point that's right there if you wanted to get that in straight away. But we still want to find our vertex, so x is equal to negative b over 2a. That gives you negative b, which is negative 2, over 2 times a negative 1. That gives you 2 over negative 2, or negative 1. So our axis of symmetry is right here. And then we'll plug that in. So we'll have negative times a negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 plus 3. It gives us a negative 1 plus 2 plus 3. That gives you 4. Okay? And then we use our growth pattern. Since a is negative, we'll go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. It's good practice to continue putting points until you're out of your graph. Okay? Because this continues, the quadratic continues going all the way, for this situation, it goes all the way, keeps going to a negative infinity. Okay? All right. Here's just some other examples. Okay, here's an example where c is 0, so you could do plus 0 or something like that. That's what the equation would look like, but usually we don't carry the zeros. So we have our y-intercept is right here, straight away. But then we're still going to want to find our x-intercept. So we'll do x equals negative b over 2a is equal to negative 4 over 2 times 1. Okay, so here we have 1 is our a and 4 is b. And that ends up giving you, what, negative 2. So our axis of symmetry is right here. And then we'll find our y for our vertex. Y is equal to negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2. That gives us 4 minus 8, which is negative 4. So we have our vertex at 2, negative 2, negative 4, and we'll use our growth pattern. A is positive, so we'll go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5. and we'll mirror it over to the opposite side. Okay. All right, just a couple other examples. Same thing. We have x is equal to negative b over 2a. We have negative b, well b is negative 6 over 2 times a negative 1. So that ends up giving you 6 over negative 2 or negative 3. So we have our axis of symmetry right here. And the y for the vertex is, we'll do negative times negative 3 squared minus 6 times negative 3. That gives us negative 9 plus 18 gives you, I think I might have made a mistake. Let me look at this really quick. No, it's right. This is just out of the... So that gives you 9. So negative 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we use the growth pattern. So we'd go a is negative, so we'll do 1a, 3a, 5a. 1 times negative 1, 3 times negative 1. Okay, so go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, down 5. Okay, need to fix this for next year. Okay, something like that. And again, you can always check your answers for standard form because this would be plus 0, which tells us that's our y-intercept, which is what we got. Okay? All right, I think that's about it. So that covers that. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Like I said, there's different ways you can solve or graph. You could go through and plug in all of this information and find each individual graph. And then we found that we could find the vertex by using this formula. And that way we can figure out where we're supposed to be putting points in. Okay, we just want to do the ones that are next to the vertex. Okay, and then we learned the pattern, 1a, 3a, 5a. Okay, and if a is negative, then it goes down. We go over 1 down. If a is positive, you go up. Okay. All right, sounds good. Again, let me know if you have any questions.